Please work. I got further than I did last time.
I just got the live. Yeah, you're good.
There we go. Bobby, let me know.
All right, hold on. I'm just gonna do like the normal start. I'm making sure I can see it on Facebook.
Do your thing.
And we should be able to go. I see it. All right.
Did you get mine?
Get your what? Oh yeah. I see it.
So it's working.
Cool. All right. Let's get going.
Hell yes.
There's glory in the legends of this hard muscle life. And there's poetry in each season made of sweat and strife. But now's the time to work and strain at a sport that tests the spirit and challenges the brain.
Come on, let's go. Yeah, I'd like to have 75 degrees and sunny all the time too, but that's not football.
Do you fear the force of the wind, the slash of the rain?
We're gonna play it through light and rain.
Go face them and fight them. Be savage again.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Put Me in Coach podcast. We are live on our Facebook page. It actually worked this time. We're not on our YouTube page. We're on our Facebook page. Bobby Blanco, Thomas Talley, Greg Porter, and Ian Foster with you. We are joined by former Redskins linebacker Robert Henson once again, friend of the program now. Robert, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm trying to stay sane through this quarantine.
So you've just
the most exciting part of my day is taking my dog for a walk now.
Yeah,
honestly though.
Yeah.
Never been so excited to take the trash out.
Right.
Yeah.
outside. So you just
I
been
actually
hanging
missed trash 2 weeks in a row because I didn't know what day it was. so I had a lot to do yesterday though.
You need to have a counter in your house, Ian.
I mean, it works out.
All right. Well, obviously, we all want to. Main reason we're here is to recap the NFL draft that happened over the weekend. We actually had some sort of live sporting event happen, which is much needed. I think everyone kind of needed something to look forward to and to participate in and talk about. But first of all, Robert, we've actually been every week, well, the past 2 weeks now, we've been kind of discussing and going over The Last Dance as it's airing every Sunday night. You've said you've been watching along too?
Yeah, man. Nothing else on. And, I mean, it's Michael Jordan. It's Michael Jordan in the 96 Bulls. So, you got to watch. You got to tune in.
Yeah, and I feel like we're a part of that same age group where we were, old enough to remember that era, and then witnessing, the post MJ era and where basketball's at today, and it's night and day.
Yeah, it's night and day. The first thing that popped out to me when I was watching that documentary was, the starter jackets we used to wear when we were young.
I remember.
I think everybody had a Bulls jersey or some kind of starter jacket or something, and then B
Yep.
was the amount of hand checking and how physical it was playing back then. So, I mean, we kind of know the Jordan rules, but it's another thing to see it and hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the Jordan rules, he couldn't get airborne, right? And if he did, they were going to foul the shit out of him. And then
that's what Lambier
let him go baseline. Was that right? Or
yeah, well,
the other way around?
Keep him out the paint. I know that. And then keep him on the elbow or trap him on the elbow.
Yeah, force him up. Don't let him go baseline. And then for shits, don't let him go airborne. That was it. Because once he's airborne, then Mike's going to be Mike.
And then you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And I know, again, we're desperate just because we haven't had any sports to watch. But, I mean, I even remember when this trailer dropped, even before the coronavirus and everything, and just the sports world just lit up and was just so anxious and excited for what's to come. And, it's been as advertised, I think, so far. It's just some of the stories that I've since learned and just kind of, I guess, reinforcing some amazing memories I have as a young sports fan. But I liked how this episode was really also more geared towards Dennis Rodman and Phil Jackson. And really just my first thought is, can you guys imagine Dennis Rodman playing in an era like today?
Oh, man, listen.
Socially.
Him and Draymond Green would be fighting every time they played.
And Draymond would be catching L's on that one.
Yeah. But his off the field thing is just, I mean, you knew it, but it's another thing to like see it up close and personal, and them interviewing Carmen Electra and all that. She looked like she was just along for the ride. She was just like, whatever, like, whatever you want to do, Dennis. But yeah, man, he was wilding. He was. Imagine if they had social media and all that back then.
He would have been.
He'd have been fried.
And he just, can you imagine going to your boss, everybody, and going, look, I really need a vacation right now. I need to go on a bender in Vegas. And your boss is like, okay.
Sorry, hold on. Let me call in the best player in the world.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? One thing that I guess everybody's been talking about, it kind of caught me off guard too, was how Mike was kind of throwing little jabs out there about everybody else's life when you know he had his own personal issues going on.
Yes.
Yeah, the women and all that stuff. I don't know how many times he's been married, but you know those issues, those things. But he was wilding too. But he just threw everybody else's stuff out in the street.
Yeah. He's not talking about his gambling addiction that he was
cheating. Yeah.
Yep.
He did all of it.
Hey, Robert.
I know. So, yeah, go ahead, Bob.
I was wondering, what's the mindset? Because you're, a former professional athlete. What's I guess a basketball locker room is a little more tight knit than a football one now because of the smaller roster size. But what's the mindset if you're a part of that team and someone on your team decides I'm going away for 48 hours to go to Vegas and party? Like, is it depending on like a person like Dennis Rodman, or is it like, well, what the fuck? We're all kind of grinding here.
There it is. I think that would be the mindset. Is like, we all need a fucking vacation. Like, you can just wait till the bye week. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
You know? So that would probably be the mindset. And then when he came back, he would probably get a lot of shit about it. So
yeah.
Something as a, I wanted to pick your brain about, just because, what we've always thought of is just, there's the alpha dogs, there's leaders, and then there was Michael Jordan. He was just the next level competitor. I mean, how does someone establish their dominance on a team like this, and to really gain that alpha status?
In my opinion, and in situations that I've seen, you establish it by being vocal and just leading by actions and making those key plays in key moments of the game. And like, for me personally, I know the football dynamics are a little different, but when you see a guy catch a tough pass between 2-3 guys when you really need it, and he continuously does that, those actions, in the game really make people, other players gravitate towards him and say, he's a dog. Like, I got the same mindset. I want to be like him, or I want to follow him. So I really think it's more of what you say and you back it up in game.
Be a dog.
Was there a true alpha in the Redskins locker room?
Nah, not really. I look at a lot of guys and I think, now don't get me wrong, there were great guys who were leaders, but I wouldn't call them alpha. When I think of alpha, I think of just guys that you hold in reverence. Like, you just like, holy shit, that's him. You know what I mean? Yep. Or he told me to do this, I got to do it. Like, there was nobody like that. I think the closest guy to that, though, would be London. London was kind of that guy where he would come and say something, but most of the time it fell on deaf ears because just the ego part of being a player is like, hey, man, I got this. You play linebacker. I play defensive end. Get your ass back there and let me do my thing. So, it's an ego thing, too.
Yeah, and I think that's what was so interesting about Phil Jackson, obviously being a former player, but I thought his ability to manage these personalities. And I think that's got to be one of the most challenging things to do for any professional sport, is to manage, the egos and competitiveness of dozens of, top class athletes. Yeah.
I think just from hearing guys talk and having friends that play kind of everywhere, the one name that keeps coming up more than anything is Pete Carroll. Yeah, I think just from people love playing for Pete Carroll for some reason, and I mean a lot of guys are like that I know that have played for him love him.
Mm-hmm. Let them be themselves.
Exactly.
And I think that was key to Dennis Rodman's success, obviously, in Chicago, is they accepted him for who he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
They did.
they're
They
just-
let him flourish.
I didn't, in Dennis's
Well, he
case,
had
I
it to
didn't think
back
he
it
had
up.
a choice.
Yeah.
He was going to do it with or without you. You got to
You
sign
owe
off.
nothing. You get the
And,
rebounds
you know,
and you get the colored hair.
And, you know, the parallels they made to Phil Jackson with Dennis Rodman, it was really cool. And I feel like that was you know, their bond was different than, you know, it seemed like most player coach. They seemed to understand each other, you know, always being an outsider. Maverick is what he was called.
Yeah, being able to connect and understand where a player came from, as well as what made him who he is. You know, so I think those are key things that help. I think Ron Rivera got a few of those qualities.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It seems like he's on his way to establishing kind of that kind of culture of, well, what do you think? Because it seems like he's kind of towing both lines, where he's much of a player's coach, like he understands the players and where they're coming from, but also being kind of that hard ass and being like, you're with us or you're against us, or you're kind of in our way, and it's kind of either be my way or the highway. But he's also has that, like, I understand where you're coming from. Let's kind of work towards the common goal here.
Yeah, it seems like it to me. Just from my experience, just to give you a coach to equate it to, Jim Zorn, my rookie year, he was a player's coach, but he got ran over a lot. I mean, I remember being in practice one time. We were about to play the Giants for the first game of the season, and he told Clinton to get in so he could see this blitz that the Giants run. And Clinton was like, "For what? I've played them a million times. Like, I know what they run." You know, and he just accepted it. To where, you know, being a young guy, I'm looking like, what the hell? Like, that blew my mind. Like, coach told me to run through a wall.
You
I'd
can do
probably
that?
go back. Like, I would run through it head first. Like,
Yeah.
but, you know, and then, you know, you transition to Shanahan, who was a hard ass, honestly. I don't think he was not a player's coach, in my opinion. It was his way or the highway. And, you know, you lose guys in that respect, too, because they feel like you can't relate to him.
There's no give. It's just his way. That's it. There's no, like Ron, you could tell he wants both. Like, he'll work with you.
But you also
like
have to give
Trent.
something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you have to give him something in return.
And I'd highly recommend watching the All In series on Amazon Prime with the Panthers from a couple of years ago. You can really see, you know, obviously Ron from a coaching standpoint, but just his personality. There was a segment in which Devin Funchess, the former Panthers receiver, was having a really, really tough time in practice and was dealing with some family issues back at home, and just, you know, kind of took it out on the practice field, unprofessionally. And, you know, a lot of coaches would kick them out, you know, curse them out. And he just took him by the shoulder and just sat down with him and just, you know, looked at him in the face, talked to him man to man, and just let him calm down. And, you know, you didn't really see such a real moment like that, especially in the NFL. And that was kind of that, I don't know, light bulb moment that I was like, okay, we actually have someone here that it seems like actually like a legitimate person, legitimate dude.
Yeah, that cares and not just trying to collect his paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Does a coach need to be a former player to truly gain the respect of his? Yeah,
it really helps. He doesn't need to be a all-world, all-pro, Hall of Famer. As long as he's a former player, I really think it helps. When I think about it, some of my best position coaches were former players. I love them. Of course, I'm in contact with them to this day. It's just a different type of relationship. It's a different atmosphere, and them being former athletes can look at you and tell whether you get a play. If you don't get it, you get a concept. Like, they can look at you and tell by your body language, by, you know, what your facial expression is. They just get it easier.
Yeah, they've been you. It's a little bit easier to get that instruction because, you know, getting that, there's like, okay, he's been where I'm at. Get that.
Yeah. There was only one former player coach that I really didn't like, and that was Hazlitt. He was a dick.
That does not surprise me in the least bit.
You are probably not alone in that regard
at all.
No,
we as fans did not like him either. Don't worry.
No.
Yeah. Speaking of dicks, it's I just to end on that Last Dance segment was the main point of that documentary was about the Pistons series, and that's what really the hump that the Bulls needed to go over. And the Pistons played a style of basketball that was just mental. They were bullies, and their goal from the tip was to get under their opposing team's skin, and as soon as they had the mental edge, it was over. And just what are your guys' thoughts on teams like that? And are those teams you root for? Are those teams you despise? It's it's
depends on where they come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if it's a Dallas team, like go fuck yourself. But Detroit, okay, let's go. Let's go beat the shit out of some people.
And then with Chicago, they hate Detroit. I mean, they're right there. They're like geographically so close to each other. So of course they hate Detroit. So Pistons being the team that bullies them is going to piss them off even more.
Oh, yeah, what a great rivalry.
I don't know.
I wish we still had that.
I'm of the mindset of, when I played, I was an asshole on the field and I talked a lot. And if I could do little things to piss you off and get you off your game, it only made me play harder because I knew you were gunning for me. And it also I felt like it gave me a psychological edge over my opponent. Little things like you tackle a guy and you when you're getting up, you put your knee in his chest to get up, you know what I mean? Or put your hand on his face mask and just little stuff. I remember getting blocked by guards and tackles, and they would literally be driving me off the ball. And I'm thinking, damn, I'm going for a ride. But I grab the inner part of their shoulder pads and just pull them over me. Like just little dick shit like that. Like it really makes a difference. You know what I mean? And it pisses them off. And then the next time they're overly aggressive and I can make them miss easier. So it's I don't know. I don't know if you really root for those teams, but again, I do think it depends on location too. With those two teams being so close together, it does make a difference.
And if those guys are on your team, then you absolutely love them.
Yeah, right.
Of course.
And if they're on your most hated team, then guess what? You're gonna loathe them. But that's just the way it is.
And Detroit specifically, they're unapologetic for who they were.
Mm-hmm.
This is our style. This is what we did, and we're not going to apologize for it. So, I can respect that. And
in hindsight,
I will.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just thinking in having seen how the Celtics treated the Pistons when they handed over, the reins to the top, and then seeing how the Pistons did it to Jordan. I think it was bullshit. Honestly, it's a real unfair knock on the Pistons and on Zeke more importantly. It was bullshit. And the only difference that I could see in my mind was the Celtics were a predominantly white team, and the Celtics were a black team. So those black guys don't know how to win, or they don't know how to lose. That's how I saw it, and I internalized it. Like, I'm interested in knowing what you guys saw.
Well, one, it was Lambert's idea.
Yeah,
Lambert is the one that.
But it did seem to be like a thing. Like Nick said, it was like a thing. Y'all beat our ass, we leaving. Like,
yeah.
And it's still like there is still a lot of acrimony with those two teams. I mean, when they asked, like, Isaiah seems very just like, look, this was what happened to us, and we're just doing, from what we experienced. And I understand that. And then I can see from an outsider's perspective that is you just being, that's horrible sportsmanship. And I, looking at this diplomatically, like Michael Jordan said, hey, we lost two, horrible series to them. And
and he did.
We shook their hands.
Yep.
So, there's still no love lost between those teams. And Michael was quite vocal about that.
I can remember plenty of times I just walked off the field. I didn't say shit to nobody. So I'm not one to talk. Some of them just hurt differently, man.
Yeah.
I think it really paints the Pistons in a bad picture for sure. And, Isaiah Thomas does not have the best reputation. And I think that just kind of fuels to that narrative of them just being outliers.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine having to answer the same question for 20 years, though. I mean, that should.
Yeah.
30 years. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's over. But
Yeah. I think in retrospect, though, like, I'm too young to remember any of this when it happened. But if I had watched it live and lived through it,
Oh yeah,
I would have been like,
you saw Jordan in a Wizards jersey, didn't you?
yeah, I have a Wizards
Yes.
jersey somewhere around here. Jordan Wizards jersey. But I think, like, at the time, I would have been like, that's shitty. That's disrespectful. Like, Michael shook your hand, you should shake their hands. But I think nowadays, like, looking at today's NBA versus back then, I would kill for some animosity like that right now. I think the NBA, the reason I don't really watch the NBA now is because, one, they don't play like they used to play back then. It wasn't as physical. It wasn't as directive basketball as we've seen. Like, I loved Phil Jackson describing the triangle offense and everything. But, like, today it's just so much one-on-one, and there are no real rivalries anymore. It's just kind of, you just go, everyone watches the Warriors, the Lakers, the Raptors, whoever's dominating, Giannis, and it's just, there's no animosity between any teams anymore. And I would kill for that right now.
Well, I think the biggest reason there is no animosity, because you got to think about how far basketball's come, especially from like high school to college. I mean, a lot of these guys played on the same AAU team. Right. You know what I mean? They played on the same travel team. So they all know each other. Yeah. There's no real animosity. And when it does happen on the court, nobody believes it, for one, because it's so fake. Like, you punch a guy, you push him, and you run, stuff like that. So
unless you're Rajon Rondo and Chris Paul, those two don't like each other.
Yeah.
I'm taking Rondo in that fight, by the way.
Every day.
Yeah, every time. Chris Paul's my boy.
The reach.
Chris Paul's my boy, but I got to take Rondo now.
Every time.
Yeah, and they've been in the limelight since they were teenagers. So, they're used to having cameras in their face. And I get that. It's, Bobby, I understand that there's not that same kind of intensity. I think you'll see that in NBA playoffs. Giannis and Embiid will go at it, and
Embiid's a social media warrior. He's not gonna do nothing.
He really is, though.
But it's I call it the A era, and the reason I say that is because every time somebody drives to the basket, they yell "Hey!" because they want a damn foul. Like, it's so annoying, bro. Like, stop.
That's actually a really good name.
Yeah. You're not even going back to play defense because you're crying about something that happened 10 minutes ago. Like, that's ridiculous to me. So,
and then watching the highlights of Jordan, when the Pistons were like kicking him to the ground, he just sits there and then he gets back up and run. If that were LeBron, I mean, LeBron's a great basketball player, don't get me wrong, but that's LeBron. He's crying for 15 minutes about it. He's not going to shut up about it.
He Michael doesn't get hit.
That's true.
Michael was that hurt, but I gotta go.
You even think about when Rodman was explaining to the ref, like, hey, like, you didn't see that? Yeah. He was like, well, shit, it's you. I didn't see nothing when it comes to you. You know what I mean? But I'm watching your shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it was a different era, man, and I think it was dope. It was amazing to watch.
The thing that the quick scene that really stuck to me was with Scotty, in which against the Pistons, Dennis Rodman clearly, blatantly, aggressively pushed him under the basket. He went falling into the stands, and typically, I mean, your instincts come in if someone pushes you. You get up and you're in fight or flight mode. And I thought for sure that when Rodman pushed him, that his teammates would come to his defense, Scotty would get up, and then it would just be a melee. And the Bulls did nothing. And Scotty just, shook it off and stood back up and went to go take his free throws. And I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, they cannot let the Pistons get in our heads. That is not going to get in my head.
After 2 or 3 years of getting your ass whooped, you got to try something different.
They literally got their asses whooped.
Yeah. And in a way, that was them getting into the Pistons' heads. Like, you're not getting in here. We're going to beat you on the scoreboard, and it's over, and that's it. And they kicked their ass.
I think one thing that stood out to me was how underpaid Scottie Pippen was. I didn't know that.
Neither did we. We talked about that.
I did not know that, and it really pissed me off. Just being a former player, like, it pissed me off.
Okay, but so let me ask you, as a former player, I mean, I think also I didn't know that, but also didn't know what a tough situation Scottie Pippen was in. I mean, he was consider he had to take care of his family. He had 2 people in his household in wheelchairs. You know, you're given this. I mean, obviously the money and numbers are different now, but like you're given this 7-year guaranteed $19 million to $14 million, whatever it was, $1 million. That's a tough call. Like, what do you think? Like, he should have done like guaranteed, or no? Let's make it a shorter deal, and hopefully I can earn more down the line.
Well, I mean, it's tough because he did have 2 dependents, real dependents in his household. But you know, you got to take the shorter deal. Honestly, I understand the guaranteed, but when you think about it, basketball, all of their contracts are guaranteed. So they could get drafted and not play a single minute of basketball and get all that money. So
Gilbert,
you know. But yeah,
he's doing all right.
It's a tough. Yeah, Gilbert's doing real good. It's a tough situation to be in, but you got to take the shorter contract. But when you think about it, back then that wasn't popular. Guys wanted to play for one team the whole career. So I mean, it made sense in given the era that it was in.
Yeah, I think that's another issue why there's really a lack of rivalries in the NBA, just because there's so much roster turnover every season.
Yeah, they're not there long enough.
No.
Should have been a great rivalry between the Thunder and the Warriors.
Right.
And then all of a sudden,
one of them bitched out.
Yup. And here we are.
I got my thoughts about that, but
we're all in agreement.
You're in agreement here.
If I was Russell Westbrook, I would just called him out, bro. Like,
had to.
Yep. I don't think he's like. I know he has a lot of friends in the league, but like, these are 2 consecutive teammates, Russell Westbrook and Draymond Green, that both said that he's just
fragile.
Yeah, very much so.
He's not mentally tough, and that's surprising given his skill level, his set of skills, and how good he is. I respect his game. I mean, it's just like Kobe. Rest in peace. Like I respected Kobe's game. I thought he was a shitty teammate when he played, but you got to respect the guy's game. So, you know, Durant's a great player, but those are the type of guys you don't want in the locker room, because a lot of secrets, a lot of things will be said out of frustration and, you know, just trying to get back at guys. A lot of wives will be contacted. just out of stuff like that. I mean, a burner account, like, you're a grown man, bro. Like,
and that's when you know.
Just whatever. But yeah.
No drums, Tom.
My bad. All right. Let's go on to the draft. We had a bit busy weekend for all of us. I watched pretty much the entire
is that
thing.
this weekend?
Shut up, Greg.
Guys,
I swear to God, I must have had like average,
hundreds.
And I'm being conservative here, probably like 125 texts. Twice, like a day,
So
I'd like catch a deal like, oh my God.
Of course,
Was that?
Us on mute.
You do keep us on mute.
It was draft day.
No, I don't keep you on mute. I just don't check it throughout the day.
Goddamn sports podcast, Gregory.
Like when everything started on Thursday, I just like wasn't dealing with it. And then
we only had one pick that day. And we only had one pick that day.
I know.
In the first
early.
In the first 10 minutes.
It started at like 8:30 in the morning. I was just like, I thought I was the only one up right now. It was like Christmas. This is the only sports that was available.
You know, it got very intense because Ian and Bobby were live betting which team is going to pick. Are they going to pick
won some good money that day?
Defensive. And then me being obsessed with the draft, they're like, text me, okay, Tom, who do the Vikings need? I'm like, ugh.
All I want to know is offensive defense. And
when it came out that they were listening to offers about the second round pick, how tight were you guys?
For what?
For Trent?
When they were talking about the first round pick, when they were going to go second, that people were offering them to take that pick. You guys were worried, like, we don't think they're going to do it, but what if they did? Like, I was reading through some of those. I was like, Jesus Christ, these guys are
the day of. I didn't think anything.
I was most worried.
We're going.
I was most worried leading up to it. It pissed me off because the Bengals took all 10 minutes that they had to make Joe Burrow.
Right? Yeah.
Like, what the fuck was that?
That was the obvious pick of the draft.
Yeah.
So, like, can we move on to our pick, please?
Down.
Yeah, but then
and the
rest
first
of
like 25 minutes were like Roger Goodell and Harry Connick Jr. singing the national anthem.
Why we have to do the national anthem for a draft? a virtual draft, I'll know.
Okay.
I was like,
got
what the hell? And then Kelly Clarkson got on her lip sync and the next day. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's terrible. I don't want to see this.
Robert, I was losing my fucking mind.
It was.
I will tell you one thing though. This was good for Roger Goodell.
I said,
because it was good to see him in a different light, where he was like at home, kickback, chilling, like, all right, sitting down, all right, with the next pick. I like that. I like that.
Dude, and
I like him saying, "Bring on the booze." Like he was like, just embracing the booze. I was like, that's pretty cool.
I think if anything, it just made him look like he, in fact, is just a huge dweeb. Like,
bro, no one likes him.
I can't imagine
one player that
he just seems like a dweeb. Like, he's so awkward, and like, I get it. You're talking to a bunch of fans who probably can't hear you. That's pre-recorded on a TV.
Yeah, right.
So, and then you see the montage of him talking to each pick afterwards, and like, give me a virtual hug, and like, dap me up. You're such a white dude. Middle-aged white man I've ever seen.
Oh man, the first time I ever met him, he came in to talk to the teams because I think the lockout there was a possibility that the lockout could happen in 2010. He came in to talk. He had like the first 4 buttons of his shirt unbuttoned. I was like, he looked like he's just stepped out of a Brute commercial, bro. I was like, bro, what the hell is this? Like, it's terrible.
Did you guys see when New Orleans pick was up first? Apparently he like digged them by not. Apparently New Orleans fucking hates Goodell.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because of the championship game 2 years ago.
Yeah. Apparently he didn't turn to the monitor as he turned to everybody else to tell him to cheer. He was just like, he's like, bye.
And before we get into the particulars, Robert, Ian, and I, and the whole group, we have spoken about this repeatedly, and it drives me absolutely crazy with ESPN.
Oh God,
this is when a player gets.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it pisses me off too.
This is the best day of your life, and well, his uncle died in 2008, and. Or like they brought up T. Higgins, his mother has battled addiction for 16 years.
Yeah, like that shit, that pisses me off too. Like,
come on.
What I really thought you were going to talk about is every time the Redskins on the clock, they went to commercial.
That did happen every fucking time.
They came back and didn't talk about the player that we took. They talked about every other fucking player, but they didn't think about the player we took.
And they didn't
every year
the bottom bar on.
Every year.
You know what? Me and my wife watching it, and I'm like, we literally looked at each other like, what the fuck is going on? Who cares about what happened when he was 6? He got his toe hit by a coffee table. Like, we don't give a shit. Like, it makes no sense. Why they keep going back on shit? Like, but yeah, I was never in doubt that they were going. I never thought that even though I was hearing that they were entertaining offers to trade out of 2, but that was 2-3 weeks in advance. So that's why I was hearing it from a direct source. So that's why I went on Twitter and I was like, they probably not gonna like this, but I'm gonna drop it because like it's a possibility that it could happen. And then obviously they didn't. It's the same thing. As a matter of fact, let me get that out of the way. It's the same thing about the Odell situation. I heard directly, I was on the phone in a 3-way call with people close, and it was basically said that, look, Washington's making a move for you. Like, we're going to try to make it happen. And that's direct source. And I was like, fuck, that would be crazy. I can't drop that. You can even hit Robbie Duncan up on Twitter because I call him and tell him all kind of shit that I can't tell everybody else. And I hit him up and he was like, bro, if that happens, and I was like, I know, I don't want to get too excited. Like, whatever it's going to be. But the deal was supposed to have Trent in it and Odell, and we would offer something else. I don't know what else the deal was, but his agent literally told him, Washington is making a play for you, so just be ready. And his response was, okay, I got you. Yeah. So when I heard that, I was so I was like, I gotta tell people, bro. But so I sat on it for weeks, and then I just basically just threw it out and said, don't be surprised.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to make a bold prediction, but I was just like, don't be surprised because that's what I was hearing. So
that's good on you, man. OPSEC, loose lips sink ships.
Yeah. And that was a good way. That's a good way to say it too.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to handle it too. But so like, all right.
That would have been.
Can you imagine if they did though? How much of the sales would have gone out of Rivera if we sold away the fucking first pick?
Yeah,
but We wouldn't have had to do it for that.
No,
like,
for this
we
we
think
were
the Never Kirkers and
would have
Kirk
been gone.
Cousins fucking groups would have been like a complete like what the fuck.
Well,
But
yeah.
Odell coming here, that would have been a complete.
That's what I mean. Is like how much division that would have created. Being like, what?
I mean,
he's not a Ron guy.
I don't think he's a Ron guy.
We keep creating this Ron guy stuff.
Yeah.
There's no such thing really. If a guy can play, he's probably going to be around. Like, so I mean, whether his attitude is what it is, and I think Odell unfairly got coined a diva. Like, he is a diva, but he got coined a drama queen. When you think about it, he's never had an off the field issue. It's never been nothing crazy. Like, I mean, we literally played receivers who killed people.
He's not wrong.
multiple positions.
Yeah, right. Like,
not just receivers.
Yeah,
we got everybody.
But I was the more and more I watched Chase, like I was happy with the pick. I was just trying to level people's expectations too, because I mean, how many guys have we seen come out pass rushers? Aaron Curry, I can name others. I mean, the guy from Southern Illinois who was supposed to be a beast. It's a lot of Northern Illinois, but there were a lot of pass rushers who put up the numbers in. But I do
it doesn't translate.
I do think Chase is a real deal, though.
You came on our show a couple months ago, and you even said like that you have to take Chase Young. Like, you're drafting best available at that spot, and he's going to be there. I'm guessing you still stand by that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what, to me, in my opinion, the first and second round or best player available. I don't think I don't think about needs. If they happen to be in the position that I need, that's fine. But 3, 4, 5, those are the rounds that you're developing to be, guys that you need in positions of need. You're developing them to be starters. That's why when the Redskins took Perry my second year, like they were trying to develop him into a starter. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Perry Riley, right?
Yeah. So a lot of fans see 3rd, 4th, 5th round guys and they think, oh shit, he's playing special teams. He'll start there, but you want to develop him into a bigger role. 6th and 7th round guys are your special team guys, really.
Shit, Terry was drafted to be mainly a special teams guy.
Or that's what was his.
He was supposed to be the best special team in the draft last year, but then he just balled out.
Yeah.
He had some good years here.
He did, and I think with best player available, you can never not have enough pass rushers. I mean, especially as your former teammate Ryan Kerrigan's got he's on the last leg of his career. This has got to be I assume his last season here in Washington, where they have a guy they can plug in and play right away and still develop him in Montez Sweat to develop them appropriately. The anti-Mineski.
Yeah, right.
I just can't wait to see what Del Rio has in store in a 4-3 with Montez. The D line. Oh my God, it's just
So Robert, you got 5 starters for only 4. What do you do?
Then what do you mean? The Giants coined it back in the day. The NASCAR packages, all that stuff, man. Like it makes everybody a threat along that D line. You can't. And I do agree, one guy has to sit and rotate. But you can't double anybody when you think about it. And that's just nasty to me. Can you imagine Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen one-on-one in the middle?
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be nasty. They are going to benefit more than anybody.
That's what I was asked. Is like, if you have edge rushers like Montez Sweat and Chase Young on each side, and then also rotating Kerrigan in there every once in a while, who's going to eat the most? I mean, there are plenty of mouths to feed. Do you think it's going to come up the middle? You think it's going to be spread out more, or are those guys going to dominate on the outside?
Well, when you have that threat of an edge rusher on the outside, like for instance, when we used to game plan against the Giants, the goal was to get to Eli, but it was to apply enough pressure to make him step up and let Hainsworth eat, but he never did. So
he did, just not.
That was the goal, like to get around the edge, but it didn't happen that way because Arakpo only had one move, and Rack my boy, but he only had one move, and he did. He did. But yeah, so with that much pressure coming around the edge, you have no choice but to step up, and you're stepping up into 600 pounds of knock your ass out, and it's going to be really, really good to see.
Out of those three, Ioannidis, Jonathan Allen, and Deron Payne, is there one in particular that this 4-3 defense is really going to be to their benefit?
I think Jonathan Allen really. I think you'll see Deron still take on most of the double teams at the 3 technique, but they both could equally eat the same, in my opinion. You have to help one or the other, and whoever you let free is going to be 1-on-1. And Deron has enough strength to bow that middle of the offensive line.
Yeah, he does.
And Jonathan Allen has enough speed and athleticism to get around those guards and centers. So I think they'll both kind of eat equally, if you ask me.
I feel like the recipe to a successful defense is pretty simple, where if you can generate pressure without blitzing, then you're setting everything else up for your linebackers and secondary.
Yep. All of a sudden, your corners play better, your linebackers play better because they can be more aggressive. You can play without thinking. I don't have to worry about it's like in the 3-4, I constantly had to worry about is Hainsworth getting over? Is he crossing the center space? If he don't, then I got to go backside. Like that slows you down. When you're in the 4-3, you don't got to think about that. You just run, man, and make plays. And it makes it a lot easier for the guys around you. All of a sudden, corners are jumping balls, playing more aggressive. You know, it'll benefit everybody. And one thing I like about Del Rio, he goes with what's working. If it's not working, he'll throw his shit out of the box and be like, "All right, what do y'all got?" Like, you know what I mean? One thing.
So I believe that's
called he's really receptive to players' feedback.
So Robert, you mentioned, that's funny you mentioned that, because as a lifelong Redskins fan, I believe you just described an adjustment.
Yeah, right.
What the fuck is that?
That's exactly.
I've seen the other teams do it a lot.
Yeah,
they're really good at it.
Was allergic to him. Manusky was allergic to him.
Yeah, he was.
Definitely allergic.
Man, it was just so good to see cohesion in Ashburn. I tweeted that the other day when Ron was talking about Kyle Smith, and they were just complimenting each other. You could tell it wasn't just,
forced. It
bullshit.
wasn't.
Yeah, and it's just so good to see, front office people working with coaches and not being in a dick measuring contest the whole time. So
you've been in one since Bruce Allen took over, so
correct.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's a new sheriff in town, we did a deal with the 49ers. Trent Williams is now in San Francisco. We wouldn't have even spoken with them because of this discord between Shanahan and Bruce Allen.
Yeah, and that's one thing that pissed me off on Twitter was a lot of fans going at Trent like, well, he sat out. He sat out. No, he came back to play, and they put his ass on that list out of spite. Bruce Allen put him on the list out of spite. Like, so, I mean, I think they did Trent a favor by sending him there in particular.
Absolutely.
That was kind of their way of saying, look, we appreciate what you did, and we wish you the best. And in my thinking is, having grown up with Trent, and I know him personally, I want people to really appreciate the shit that he did while he was here.
Absolutely.
Playing through pain, when he really didn't have to. He could just sit out and get his money. And then one of the fans brought up the weed issue he had. And I was like, right, so you did everything perfectly in your life too. Like we can't really pass judgment on this dude, man. Nobody really knows. So,
and weed is allowed now too. So it's like, who even gives a shit?
And for example, I went on Twitter after the trade was announced. Trent, thank you so much. I appreciate everything you've done for the organization. It was a pleasure to watch you work. And, I mean that for any player that, busts his ass to that level. I mean, how could you not be appreciative of it? And, he deserves an opportunity to play for a contender. He's probably one of the best teams in the NFC.
Yeah. Yeah. He makes that team a lot better.
Yeah.
With the coach he's familiar with in a scheme. I mean, this is the best team he's been on, like, by ridiculous numbers.
It's definitely set up for success.
It's probably his ideal. Robert, you might know, it's probably his ideal landing spot because it's better than Cleveland, it's better than Tampa, and then
I know for a fact he didn't want to go to Cleveland. He was open to Tampa, but I know for a fact Cleveland he did not want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you fit the scheme that Shanahan has, that in the running game and then the passing game that he
that's who drafted him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it just seems like an ideal spot for him. And now he has a chance to go win a Super Bowl.
They drafted him too because he fits that scheme so well. So
I'm just so glad that this is over with too. And Kyle Smith said that too. And I appreciated his candor. Just like, I'm so sick of talking about this. And you know, when it came down to it, Bruce Allen absolutely just
fucked it up.
I mean, he just times a million. And you know, this was just making the best situation out of it. Move on, and he's on another team that's not in the division, and he is going to have an opportunity to play some serious, meaningful football late in the season. So
everybody's a winner now.
Yeah.
Thank God it's over. Trent's happy. We're happy. We even got a third rounder out of it, which surprised me at this point.
Yeah,
but I'll take it. And really, you got to think, if it wasn't for Trent, do you think we still have Bruce? We might still have Bruce.
Yeah, you actually. I honestly don't understand what he had over Mr. Snyder or Dan. Like, is he holding a sex tape? Something like I got
strippers, cocaine. There was
something, bro. Like I've never seen somebody so bad at their job allowed to stay there so long. Like it's just.
He even got
and not only that, he turned all the players hated.
Yeah,
all the players
hated.
I hate him.
But we love Kyle Smith, though, so let's get
love Kyle Smith.
Yeah, let's go over his draft real quick. So obviously, I know we have Chase Young. That was, again, obvious. Just to kind of go in order, third round pick, Antonio Gibson, who is a running back wide receiver hybrid. Bobby, I know you have been just salivating over his YouTube highlights ever since. Some quick facts about him: he's 6'2", 221. He averaged 15.6 yards per touch this season. He averaged 28 yards per kick return on 33 carries. 16 of them he broke tackles. On 38 catches, 17 of them he broke tackles. He's elusive. He's an outstanding athlete. He's just, doesn't really fit a specific position. What are you guys' thoughts on him?
I like he's a weapon. I like how he described himself as a weapon, and that I was concerned at first because Goodell, he either fucked it up or someone gave him the wrong information because he called him a running back. And I was like, why are we taking a running back right now? Why are we taking a running back? But the fact that he can be used as that weapon, as in the slot receiver type, they even said that he is more of like weapon, like flex type than Christian McCaffrey is, because McCaffrey could be more of a true running back, and Gibson is more of a receiving type down back. So, and Robert, I saw you tweeted about him, so you heard that he's probably going to be used more as a receiver, right?
Yeah, my guy in the front office was like, so I asked him, I said, what about this Gibson kid? I never heard of him.
Yeah,
and me neither. His text to me was big play waiting to happen. Yeah, and then I said, so receiver? He's like, he'll start at running back. He'll start off as a running back, and then they'll work him in at receiver or wherever Turner see fit. But he'll start off at running back at 6'2", 220. He has the size for it.
It's a big guy.
Yeah. So
I like that.
Again, and then you put him in the slot if you need to. That pick did kind of confuse me, but after talking to him, he assured me that guy can make plays. He's trouble in space.
Yeah, I would say safely, we could pencil him in as our kick returner right off the start.
Yep. That was another thing I think,
which is good. And then also that's a plus for Steven Sims, because now that's going to give him an opportunity to really focus primarily on playing, be the every down slot receiver. I want to see, I think where the NBA has advanced is they have just, developed positionless players and just putting them into space and letting their athleticism take over. And so, yes, Antonio Gibson, he might be a running back at Madden, for example, but, I think I want to see us get creative with him. Can he be in the backfield at the same time as Darius Geis? I think we'd see him on reverses, end arounds, stuff like that, screens, just, put him in space and let his athleticism do the work, because if his YouTube highlights are any inclination, I mean, he is next level athletic.
I'm more concerned about how many guys are in that running back room.
So many.
I don't really understand some of the signings. McKissick didn't make sense to me. Barber didn't make sense. They don't make sense to me. They're not scheme fit guys, but so I couldn't get a sense of like, what are you trying to achieve? Like Adrian Peterson, guys, one cut runners.
Yeah.
Gibson, he can do everything. the McKissick, I wouldn't say one cut. Barber, I wouldn't really say one cut. I'd say power game, like, you know, one of those power runners. But
Don't know what Bryce Love's going to be.
And we don't know what the hell is going on with Bryce Love. And then you got to think you let Chris Thompson walk. So you got to have somebody.
Yeah, and I thought that's what McKissick was signed for, to play Chris Thompson's role, where he's not going to be taking a lot of carries, but we'll see him, you know, being used in the flats or, you know, let's say choice routes against linebackers.
I thought there were better options out there that could fit that role, but, you know, we don't make the decisions. So.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to imagine that, you know, one of those veterans that we brought in is not going to make the team. I would say Peyton Barber is probably on the outside looking in. You know, maybe someone else like AP could be subject of trade rumors. If, you know, there's a team goes down with an injury in training camp, they could bring in a veteran. And, you know, that would make sense, because I would agree that I can't imagine what the running back room is going to look like come week one, because there's too many cooks.
Yeah. It's going to be crowded.
Yeah. On to the next pick, round 4, 108th pick overall. That was LSU's starting left tackle, Sadiq Charles. He's only 20 years old, 6'4", 295, 3-year starter. I know he's had some off the field issues, multiple failed drug tests.
Weed again. Who cares?
Yeah. Anyways, this is a guy that the upside is certainly there. I mean, you start 3 years at LSU, you're, you know, national championship. I mean, this is really, really good value for where he was drafted.
It's fantastic for where he was drafted.
I'm not a big O-line guru. I'll lean on Robbie Duncan for those type of things. I find the front 4 or the front 5 of an offensive line to be boring. So so I just never really paid attention to it. But from listening to Robbie, I'll regurgitate some of the things that he told me. He said he was a good inline blocker. He's not very good in space. Robbie saw him more as a guard rather than a tackle, which makes sense. But who knows what they'll do with him, man. I do like his size and his frame, and the fact that you said he's 20. He's got a lot of room to grow and understand. He can't be worse than Jerron Christensen. So
yeah.
That one missed. That was a miss.
So a couple of things about Sadiq Charles. One, multiple failed drug tests. I assume he smoked weed when he was a teenager. I'm not going to ask everyone to raise their hand if they smoked weed when they were a teenager, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's okay. Like, you know, it's just, you know, if you're able to, look at this realistically. Can you pencil in a 4th round pick as your starting left tackle week 1? No, that's not going to happen. He's going to need some time to develop, as you said, Robert, that, you know, those mid-round picks, it takes some time to develop them, work them out on special teams, and they eventually grow into starters. So, you know, this is going to be a project, I assume. And then maybe within a year or two that he could be, you know, be the everyday starting left tackle. But, you know, again, this is good value. What I've liked to see, you know, with a 4th round, if this was taken towards getting a tight end, you know, I was complaining at that point, why didn't we get a receiver? And then just, you know, 30 picks later, that's where we got my favorite guy, Antonio-Gandy Golden, wide receiver out of Liberty.
Well, I will say this. The Antonio Gibson pick did catch me off guard. I wasn't expecting it. You had Josh Jones, who easily could have been a 1st round pick. Yeah, I don't know why he was sliding so bad. But Josh Jones was sitting there in the 3rd round right there. I mean, you could pencil him in as a starter, but they didn't go that route. But again, the Sadiq Charles pick, I think after listening to Robbie, I think he's going to be a guard. And then your guy, the 6'4" receiver, I didn't know much about him. He looks more like a Brandon Marshall type guy that can go up and get the ball. Yeah, big body that can out-muscle guys, out-rebound, like, you know, box them out like you're rebounding. So, I'm excited about that. And then people laughed at me because I really started thinking outside the box. And that's what I do most of the time with the draft. I try to think outside the box. Like, and I looked at his size and his height, or his height and his weight. And I'm like, could he possibly be a flex tight end? Like not an inline block, blocking guy. Like we don't want to,
that's
want to put on 30 pounds of weight.
Niles Paul, right?
Niles Paul, exactly.
So I was thinking, damn, he could really go up and he could be a nasty tight end if they just, maybe added 10, 15, flex them out, don't gain too much weight, keep the speed you got now. Because I don't see him outrunning any corner in the league right now, honestly.
Yeah, especially off the ball.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a great quick first step, but he has got the height and the leaping ability and the hands.
That's why he's a 4th round pick.
He's got good hands.
And to me, what I always liked is productivity. I mean, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
Yeah.
Average 17.7 yards per catch. I mean, Liberty's it's a smaller program. They're not playing, top tier level talent like you did. But, for someone that's at Liberty, I want you to dominate.
Yeah, you got to put up big numbers.
Yeah. So, I mean, clearly this is another thing from an upside standpoint. This has got to be Kelvin Harmon's biggest, threat at the moment.
Well, after watching that video of Harmon catching from the jugs with one hand, I don't know. But I will tell you that we talked about the running back room being interesting. The receiving room is going to be a dogfight, in my opinion. I mean, you got Emmanuel Hall, 6'3", 4'3" guy who can. I mean, he can just run like crazy.
He was Drew Lock's number 1 target.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he's bounced around so much. Maybe a character issue. Maybe I don't know, but he could possibly find a home. You got Cam Sims. You got so many guys who really can play and can develop into something special. And it was great to see Santana say that he'd worked with Gladney Gandy on his release.
Really?
So, I didn't know that.
That's cool.
How see Santana coaching?
Santana coaching a lot?
No, he's more into the TV thing. Every time I talk to him, that's the topic. Because I've been just picking his brain about getting in that realm. And that's pretty much what he's focused on getting better at. But
he's fantastic on the radio when he's on with Chad.
Yeah, I like him on the radio too.
So
go ahead.
No, I was saying, so the kid from Liberty, what do you guys really like him, or?
I do.
Ian, you want to go?
Yeah. Oh, that was Bob. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I like him a lot. I liked in the highlights you mentioned playing at Liberty. They were showing some good highlights of him going against Virginia and Baylor. Like those aren't small schools.
BYU,
and BYU too. So, everything they say, a lot of the guys, and they say there's about a handful of picks every year, but like they say he's one of the better steals maybe in the draft. That he fell that deep and fell into their lap, and I like the comparison to Brendan Marshall. I mean, that's something that the Redskins haven't had in so long. A guy that just goes up and gets it and comes down with it.
That was supposed to be Josh Doxson.
I was going to say that's supposed to be Josh Doxson. I mean,
fade route,
you guy, but
another TCU guy.
Yeah, but it never turned out that way, and that's something that we, as fans, have been, longing for a long time. Is a receiver that they can go count on going up and making a big play when they need it the most, and not dropping the ball.
When's the last time we had that?
In Josh's defense, he made a few of those plays. He just didn't make enough.
He did.
No,
my favorite
was
fucking ridiculous.
The one in Seattle was fucking unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Oh, he bailed Kirk out big time with that.
On the sideline. I still can't believe that happened.
And he came so close to that Monday night game against Kansas City. He came down.
Wait, I just heard. He signed with somebody.
The Jets.
The Jets. That's who it is.
Yep.
Is there somebody else on the Jets from us? Oh, Terrell Pryor was on there.
Roulier. They got Roulier, right?
Spencer Long.
Crowder.
No, Spencer Long. That's who it was.
Crowder
and
too.
Jamison Crowder. Yep. All right. On the 5th round,
we got Gandy from. I think that was a compensatory pick from the Jets for Crowder signing with the Jets.
Yeah. And this 5th round pick was for Quentin Dunbar, center from San Diego State, Keith Ismail, 6'3", 310, 3-year starter, 3 straight all Mountain West first teams, and he was Pro Football Focus's #1 pass blocking center in the nation.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep. He was graded #1 out of 152 centers.
Wow.
Holy shit. I had no idea about that.
So this kid could be the real deal. How tall is he?
Yeah. He's 6'3", 6'3", 310.
Yeah, definitely interior.
Yep.
3-2.
And it sounds like he's going to be ready. And Chase Roulier can play guard too, so maybe they can move either one of those guys out or something like that. But again, at this point, you want to take these developmental projects and guys that were highly productive. I mean, you start 3 years, and our first team all conference, all three of those. I mean, you're doing something right. On to one of the more confusing picks of the day, in my opinion, and not to speak poorly of your position, Robert, but round 5, pick 162, Khalid Hudson, linebacker out of Michigan. 6 foot 220. He was a 3-year starter at Michigan and was mostly a safety. He's projected as a hybrid.
Love it.
But it's a crowded linebacker room. And I still know where he fits.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to think you don't know where you're at with Ruben. He's definitely a weak side linebacker. He's not strong side. He could play middle and weak. But what I really liked about his tape was the safety background. He took a lot of chances. He gambled a lot and got drugged a few times, especially against Ohio State. But I think he's a project, and he could definitely be, like you said, like a hybrid. I do think his pass coverage ability is better than anybody that we have in the linebacker room right now.
Wow.
Go ahead.
You just got to work on the consistency aspect of it. And I love the speed. He was a 4.5 guy. So,
and he was voted Michigan's special teams player of the year. So it sounds like he's going to be one of the better special teams players right away, which is good. Bobby, what was your...
to Robert's point, I was gonna say I like the fact that he can cover tight ends a little bit with that safety background. That's something the Redskins haven't had in a while too. A linebacker that can cover tight ends. I mean, he's a little undersized, but with the athletic ability that he has, that he used to play safety, I think he can get that job done and then also contribute on special teams.
He could be a more disciplined Zach Brown.
Wow,
that's his ceiling in my opinion.
I would take that.
Yeah,
that's his ceiling in my opinion. I'm not thinking
Zach Brown had a lot of talent
because he had that speed too.
But the one thing I think, one guy that I think is really on the bubble is the guy that they converted from safety a couple years back. I'm blanking on his name. I can see
Harvey Clemens.
Josh
Harvey Clemens. Yeah.
He just hadn't developed as a linebacker.
Yeah,
he plays too high. It's just
and this has been a position the Redskins haven't been able to solve because Sua Cravens was drafted years ago to do this, and then that obviously didn't work out. I think he's out of the league now. And then obviously Harvey Clemens could have played that role. That didn't work out. So, it's just, to me, what's confusing about that position, and especially still when we didn't address tight end, is where does he fit? Because we have Bostic, we have Cole Holcomb, Reuben Foster. We have, high hopes for, hopefully. I liked what we saw. We signed a special teamers from Chicago as well. There's a few others that I'm blanking out. Sean Dion Hamilton too. So it's just a crowded room. I just don't know where he's going to have the opportunity to really, be given a shot.
Thomas Davis is definitely staying.
That's it.
Yes,
he's a Ron guy, and this is Ron's thank you year for him. Thank you for everything you did year for him. That's the only reason. And he's going to bring along some of the younger guys. When I was playing, London didn't want to teach nobody shit. He was just like, you'll figure it out. And that's cool with me. Like, I get it. But Thomas Davis isn't one of those guys. He wants to impart as much knowledge as much as he can on the younger guys. So I look for him to have more of an Alex Smith type of role right now this year.
Yeah, and he had a productive he was good last year with the Chargers too. I mean,
did he lead
38?
He led him in tackles, didn't he?
Yeah. Still
got it. I think he was a converted safety, wasn't he? At Georgia, I think he was a safety. So on to the 7th round, final 2 picks. We got a safety out of Arkansas, Cameron Curl, 6'2", 198, another 3-year starter. Spent actually the majority of his college career as a slot corner, which is still up for grabs, I would say. I mean, unless they move Kendall Fuller in, but there's a third corner that is still needed in nickel and dime packages. Fun fact about Cameron Curl: he was suspended 1 game for flirting with cheerleaders of the opposing team. That's all I got.
I think I'm gonna like this dude, bro.
Was that your little ESPN factoid?
Yeah.
And that cheerleader's mom died in a tragic
That's
car
confidence.
accident.
Oh shit. No, but you know, I look for. I mean, I know we drafted that guy, but I look for Stroman, Moreau. I look for somebody to come in. And what's the other guy? Danny Johnson. I like his game too. He just needs to be more consistent. He was hurt, and so they need. I look for one of those three guys to really solidify themselves. I'm kind of giving up on Moreau. He is what he is, but you know, with Danny Johnson and
Jimmy Moreland too.
I like Jimmy more. Yeah, I like Jimmy too. Jimmy's game, he's got to be more consistent. But you know, he was rookie last year, so I do like his game. But somebody else has got to step up. As far as Kendall, I'm not particularly as excited about him playing on the outside as a lot of people are. I do think he is a slot corner. And when you do get those three receiver sets, you kick him in. But I like Darby's game. He definitely has good ball skills, good range. He just got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
He's on the
I mean, so like
deal.
in a base defense, where does Fuller go? Because he also plays for Kansas City too.
No, well, listen, he making good money. His ass is out there. You stick him on that corner and just figure it out. But yeah, him and Darby, I'm cool with him and Darby on the outside, and I'm not listening to people, I won't say their names, who say they scared of the Cowboys not up, and he don't believe in our guys. But I do think Darby and Kendall can get it done against Cooper and Gallup and CD in that slot.
Whew.
It's gonna be a dogfight. I don't think it's as far apart as people think it is towards the Cowboy side. I don't really think it's that far apart.
That's why you got to get the pressure on there and alleviate some pressure.
When you think about it, Darby was in the NFC East. He faced Cooper a lot. He knows. You know,
he's 2 years removed from a Pro Bowl season. He's hurt.
That's why I like this deal that he's on. Prove it. You want to prove it.
Yeah, it's I would say out of those three, Fabian Moreau on the outside versus inside is substantial. So if I were to gamble on this, I would say you'd have Fabian Moreau on the outside and three receiver sets and nickel sets, which is where they're primarily playing now. Moreau and Darby on the outside and Fuller on the inside. So that's going to give Sean Davis an opportunity to play free safety alongside Landon Collins. And this is another prove-it type deal where he's shown flashes that he can do it, but hasn't been able to stay consistent or stay on the field.
That position is stressing me the fuck out. No, seriously, I'm good with everything else. I don't trust Sean back there. He's too aggressive. He plays too fucking aggressive. Just everything that I've watched, he has flashed. His first 2 years with the Steelers was fucking good. I liked what he was building up to be, and then I don't know what happened. Like something happened.
A lot of missed tackles.
A lot of missed tackles was one of them. I just don't trust. I think he's too aggressive in coverage. That's just mine. He's a little grabby too, so I don't know.
And he's the last. He's the last guy.
I know he's the last line of defense, and you need to be hella disciplined to stay back there. We already got a Landon. We don't need another one.
And I don't want Landon to play in the back center field either. If you look at his numbers when he's in the box versus when he's playing deep, he is
push him up. Push him up.
Yeah, the last pick of the draft, 7th round, pick 229, James Smith Williams, defensive end out of NC State. Another pass rusher, I guess that was just high on their board. 6'3", 265, 2-year starter, voted the team captain. He actually has a job opportunity with IBM if he chooses not to pursue football. So, that's all I got. He has some really good physical measurables, but at this point, if you're just throwing darts and
I just from the little film that I watched on him, he flashed quite a bit. He can bend the corner. He played way too high. He plays way too fucking high. But if he's a rotational pass rusher, if he even makes the team, so maybe one of those guys, like I said, you can dev and bring along and be a special teams guy. That picture kind of confused me. I was like, I would have took another shot on the interior lineman or something like that, or a tight end. What's the difference between that and signing Thaddeus Moss undrafted?
Right.
Yep. which was my last question is, I know Thad Moss had an excellent national championship game. And that's where I was like, when I was watching him play, I was like, damn, this stuff is going to play at the next level, you would think. And obviously being Randy, a son of a Hall of Famer, he's got already name recognition, but this is a guy that was projected to go in the mid rounds, and he probably would have gone even earlier had he not broken his foot. 6'3", 249. He's actually a better blocker than he is a pass catcher. So, I think he's going to be, typically as an undrafted free agent, as I understand, you get an opportunity to choose where you want to go. You'll have multiple offers, and he has a legitimate shot to make this team.
Yeah, I think he chose wisely because we don't have an established guy. And I like Ron Rivera. I like Scott, but I'm not believing that bullshit they telling me about Logan Thomas. I don't want to hear it.
Not at all.
I'm take me out, bro. I don't want it. Like, I don't believe that shit. So that definitely has a chance to come in and get significant reps and be that guy. I do think he needs to lose a little weight.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my opinion.
He's got a little baby
especially
fat
coming off that foot injury too.
Yeah.
But I do like his blocking ability in line. And I think he does have better hands than people probably give him credit for most of the time.
He didn't drop a pass.
Yeah.
Yes, he didn't drop a pass, bro.
His route running is not good, but
he's not fast
he can get there. He can get there if he work hard. So,
Robert, we watched the games together for the most part, and nothing makes Bobby angrier when someone drops the ball, when someone Terrell Pryor's it. When that happens, he turns as red as his shirt.
Well, it depends on the situation. I'm with him.
Well, it's also that coupled with stopping a yard short of the first down marker on your route. They dropped the ball too. So it's like, how do you not know where the marker is? How do you not know where the goal line is? Come on.
That's the Ryan Grant.
Oh my, that's the Ryan Grant special.
There's something similar, but it's on the defensive side of the ball that really pisses me off is when we have guys tackled and then we fucking throw them forward. That pisses me off.
Yes.
That shit makes me so mad. And I swear the Redskins are the king of that shit. Like, it makes me so upset.
Let's give you 3 more yards.
Yeah, so it's not just us thinking this, guys.
6 yards. Let's give you 4 more, boy. Like, shit's annoying, man. But,
and then they celebrate like they did something good. Like, yeah. And it's like, you just gave him 4 extra yards.
Yeah.
Give him a first down.
That shit's annoying.
Oh, God. Yeah.
What do you guys give?
Can catch.
What's your grade for the draft, guys?
Robert, go ahead.
I give him a B. I could bump that up to a B plus because of the Thad Moss signing, though. So I think that's a fair grade. A B plus is a fair grade.
Yeah, for me, I think I had him originally at a B plus. I think the not drafting a tight end had me concerned or worried, and then they went and signed Thad Moss, and I was like, okay, that bumps up to an A for me. I think they addressed they got Chase Young. That was a no-brainer, and I think all of our opinions. They got a lot of possible weapons for Dwayne Haskins, some O-line depth. They kind of checked off all the boxes, and then they even added a undrafted free agent quarterback because they need a third quarterback in that room too. So I think coupled the draft and the undrafted free agent signings, I think it's at least an A, maybe B plus.
Ian, what you got?
I was B plus. I loved it, but I wanted a tight end, and then we immediately got Thad, so I went A minus. And then you got to think we didn't have a second rounder because we got Montez. So if you really put that in there, then I'm going A, high A, but Montez doesn't really count for it.
I give it 3 taquitos. I only know Chase Young, and for the last
taquitos or chicken?
See, that's the question: is what kind of?
That's
taquitos?
a good question.
I give it the jalapeno and cream cheese or the steak and cheese taquitos.
Oh, okay, all right.
But I give them 3 of them because I only know Chase Young, and I haven't understood a single fucking word any of you have said for the last 40 fucking minutes.
What are you here
I've
for?
just been smiling and nodding like, yeah, that makes fucking sense. He brings up a good fucking point.
You're here
Let me
for
just
friendship,
look like I know what I'm talking about, and I'm just gonna sit here and look pretty and just try to not look at my phone.
My whiskey.
I ran out of whiskey 30 minutes ago.
I'm about to go get some.
I'm going to go anytime that you're able to draft the best player in in the entire draft. That's got to be at least a B. To me, I just, it's that, Ian, we talked about last week, your third round pick needs to be treated as a second round pick. And I like Antonio Gibson, the concept of him, because he's a weapon and he's a playmaker. And that's something the Redskins have lacked for so long. It's just with the receiver class that we just had, and as deep as it has been labeled, I would have rather have seen a more natural wide receiver that we could plug in and really, give Dwayne Haskins more weapons in the immediacy, as opposed to Antonio Gibson, which is, potentially more gimmicky, if you will. And we didn't really establish, getting another corner, another safety until later. So, I guess they just went more by best player available throughout. So
I think they were just true to their board.
Yeah. And so I would have, it's just the third round that I would have liked a better receiver. I liked Duvernay out of Texas a lot, but
yeah, you did like him. Who went to
I did
fucking Ravens?
The Ravens, yeah.
God,
they probably had the best draft.
I think they had the best draft. They killed it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Ravens definitely had the best draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Umo.
I'm not buying that Ray Lewis Jr. bullshit though. They can keep that. They can shut the fuck up with that.
No. I mean, I like the pick.
He's good. Yeah. He's not Ray Lewis Jr. Stop.
Yeah. And I got to beat real quick. BRB.
I think the next up is just quickly going around the NFC East, because that's obviously our hated rivals. And I mean, first and foremost, coming to my mind is the Jalen Hurts pick by Philly. I mean, what that to me was the one, maybe only. Well, actually, it's like Jordan Love too. Also made me kind of scream out loud. But I was like, what? What are they doing? And look, I get it. Tom, and we talked about this last week, and Tom always repeats this. It's like anytime you can get a quarterback in the draft, you should, because it's the most valuable position on the field. But you have Carson Wentz. I know they don't really have a suitable backup at the moment, but they need to surround him with weapons. And don't get me wrong, as a Redskins fan, I am so happy they didn't take the receivers that were available to them.
Yeah.
But they went ahead and got Hurts. What's Philly doing?
I don't know what the fuck Philly doing. I don't even think Philly know what Philly doing.
That makes me so happy.
You know what though?
That's
I do think
fuck Philly. My next door neighbors are huge Philly fans.
Fuck them.
I do think
They're
that
nice
I think that they don't think Wentz can be healthy. That's basically what I think they think that Wentz isn't going to be healthy, and if he is, then I look for Jalen Hurts to have his own Lamar Jackson package type of shit. So I don't know, man. That was a kind of confusing pick to me. As I look around the NFC East, the Cowboys did have a good draft as much as it pains me to say. They picked up Biotis, the center. I really liked him. I was hoping their Skins would take a flyer on him.
What about CeeDee Lamb's girlfriend?
CeeDee Lamb pick. The Diggs pick was good.
Cowboys had a good draft.
Yeah, that was a damn good draft. I will admit that. The edge rusher they took was whatever. But as I look around, Philly is the only one. I thought the Giants got a little better. They better take a tackle after we just got Chase Young. So
yes, yeah, they had to.
I feel like that was
Daniel Jones to play another 10 years. You better take a fucking tackle.
Exactly.
But they got better too. They went offensive line twice, and I thought they got better. But
what did you think of your fellow TCU alum Jalen Reagor going? He was projected.
He's different. He's different than Dotson in a standpoint of Dotson was kind of hungry, but he got the success and he started to chill. Reagor is never comfortable. He scares the shit out of me, honestly, playing for Philly, because they just drafted Jackson's replacement, because he's a true burner and he can do a lot of shit. His run after the catch is tremendous.
I'm scared.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he can run routes. He's definitely good on the quick game. And he can make people miss, and he's got blazing speed. So he does scare the shit out of me. I'm happy for him, but I don't want him in the division.
Yeah.
Well,
Where do you think?
I was super pumped when
speaking
they passed over Jefferson, and I was
Yeah,
like,
I really thought they were going Justin
I thought they were
Jefferson
going to
on
go
that one.
Jefferson.
Yeah, I was surprised he fell as well, though.
Jake Fromm went all the way to the 5th round.
And that's why, Philly, you could have gotten Fromm late. You didn't have to try and get Jalen Hurts, who I like Jalen Hurts, but not
I
second.
really think Fromm is going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. It's going to be one situation where Allen gets hurt in some shit, and they're going to have a real controversy. Because Fromm is smart. He don't have a real strong arm, but he can spin it.
You know, it kind of reminds me of like an old NBA that if you can play defense and rebound, you'll find a way to stick around. And, you know, Fromm is I already feel like he's beyond his years from a, you know, X's and O's standpoint. And he's not going to turn the ball over. If you're a quarterback, you don't turn the ball over, you'll find a way to stick around.
It's not a bad job being a backup quarterback either.
Well,
no.
Shit.
And what about
stole a lot of money?
It's almost like a PGA golf pro.
Yeah.
How about CD
Just
Lamb's
gotta have
girlfriend?
fun and make money.
Is she still...
Correct.
I don't even know what happened with that. What happened with that? People were talking about it, and I was in the dark. I was like, what are they talking about?
He was on the phone probably with like his agent or somebody, and then his personal phone was on his lap. So then she tried to take it, and then even when he was on the phone, he just nixed it right out of her hand. I said that immediately. I was like, "Did you just see CD's girlfriend?"
Is it worse than that Wilson pick where the mom got the girl out of the damn shot out of the pick?
Those two were so fucking funny. Oh my god.
That's why I think this shit should be. I think the draft should be just like it was this year every year. Like
this was my favorite. I thought I was going to hate it, but this was I loved how they did it.
Yeah, I agree.
Except for the beginning.
Fuck that part. We're not going to talk about that.
In the first half hour.
Very angry.
No, I got to go with the mom picking up the girlfriend was worse. That was just so bad. Right though, he played it right. He's like, I'm just going to stare forward. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this though. I'm probably in the minority here, but I like the Jordan Love pick.
I was going to ask.
I liked it because, for one, nobody was expecting Green Bay to do that shit. For one, they threw off 31 other teams with that shit.
Yeah.
Two, he's drawing Patrick Mahomes comparisons. So if I can get 75% of Patrick Mahomes to be the heir apparent to
Pro Bowler,
I'm doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I like to pick, and he's not going to play right away, obviously. You know, you get a couple more years to sit behind.
But if you're Aaron Rodgers though, and you know this was the deepest draft for wide receivers, and you know they've never taken a wideout in the first round. He obviously needs help outside of Devontae Adams, and they don't utilize the draft or free agency to help him. And then they draft a quarterback in the first round. He's like, you know, I'm going to Ted Thompson in the front office, be like, the hell is going on?
But if you think about it, they signed Devin Funchess, who was hurt last year. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You got Devontae Adams, who's 6'3". You got Funchess, who's 6'3", 6'4". You got Valdez Scantling, who started to come on a little bit, but he fell off a little. So I mean,
Aaron Jones is good.
St. Brown. You got guys who can catch the ball. I think tight end was the biggest need for them. I would have been pissed about that. And then they addressed it. So I don't know. I like the Jordan Love pick. I think it's a great fit for him.
Yeah, I we haven't seen the side of Aaron Rodgers. He's going to need to take, because Brett Favre didn't welcome him warmly into Green Bay, and it's just it's very ironic. 15 years later,
the exact same pick too, right?
Yeah,
almost.
Well, what's crazy is if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm gonna treat him the same way Brett Favre treated me, because he may be the next Aaron Rodgers.
Correct. Yeah.
Maybe that's what created Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? So, but if we look at Green Bay though, I think Aaron Rodgers' attempts were down this year, and Aaron Jones was the offense pretty much.
Yeah,
he accounted for a good percentage of that. He led the team in touchdowns. So.
They may led the league in touchdowns, right?
Yeah, maybe they go with a more ground attack and, you know, not really worried about the receiver, but I like to pick.
Yeah, I mean,
I
he's
just
also
understand
36.
trading up for him. That's the thing. Is trading up for him. If he fell to you, by all means. But I just didn't fully get trading up for it.
Yeah, and
because
especially
I didn't really
when
see anybody in between taking a quarterback.
I thought they were going to take a linebacker. Honestly, I thought they were going to go with Murray.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well. In addition to that, they went to the NFC Championship game this year. I mean, they're in contention. They're close. So you would think they would want to put all their chips in and get a guy that they can plug and play right away. But if they have a Pat Mahomes like projection of Jordan Love, I mean, I get it from a front office standpoint. You're looking at this years down the road.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I would have done it. I wouldn't have traded up, but I would have picked him.
It's I have to imagine maybe we'll see Aaron Rodgers in a different uniform one day.
I'm thinking that's
it's
just signed a new deal, so they probably potentially they can't get rid of him for another 3 years without incurring. Maybe I'm thinking another 2 or 3 years. I think the cap penalty would probably be like 7-8 million, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's. So it's what he would do would be the ultimate Brett Favre move is he would go to Chicago and replace Trubisky.
There it is.
That would be funny as hell.
So shitty.
That would be pretty funny. So a few quarterback questions. Jameis Winston went to New Orleans, as we talked about last week. That actually turned out to be correct. I think that's an excellent opportunity for him. Kind of start again fresh, learn under the first ballot Hall of Famer Drew Brees for a year, and see where that takes you. I think that's an excellent opportunity. I don't know where Cam Newton's going to go, other than New England. I don't know. Are they going to trade for another TCU guy and Andy Dalton?
I got a potential landing spot for Cam.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably going to be in LA with the Rams.
The Rams.
No more Goff.
If Goff don't do shit this year, I know that cap penalty would be high if they try to get rid of him. But it's possible, and he opens up Sean McVay's offense.
He would, and they're restructuring his deal right now too. Goff.
When was Sean's offense at its best?
Kirk's playoff year, when he was put him out of the pocket using his athleticism.
Yep. I don't know. That's just my little guess. I don't know, but I don't see Cam in New England.
Yeah, I don't see New England paying for that.
No, culture flip. I think Bill. I think Bill is okay with being bad this year.
Damn.
Yeah, get Trevor Lawrence.
Get Trevor Lawrence next year.
Yeah, I swear to God, if
they get Trevor Lawrence,
the rich get richer
every time.
And your penalty is just 1 year being 8-8.
There it is.
Oh my God.
Let the Jets think or the Bills think they run the division, and just go get Trevor Lawrence.
What's Tua going to be?
I think Tua is going to be a dog.
I love Tua.
If he's healthy,
you got to understand. You got to understand that culture too. The way he grew up, his culture. That's Samoan culture, like. Yeah. Especially being doubted the way he was coming into this.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be a dog.
Well, Kuiper and McShay said he's the better prospect if he was healthy over Burrow.
Of course. Yes. Of course. Burrow just got hot at the right time, though, if we're being honest. Mm-hmm. Because last year, Burrow was a fourth, sixth round pick.
Yeah.
So he just got hot at the right time.
Best offense.
A lot of people don't like Herbert's game. I don't know. I think he's Drew Lock. That's just me. I think he's Drew Lockish.
I liked what I saw out of him at the end.
Yeah, he's got something, but unless you get a good coach to pull it out of him, I don't know. We'll see. Mm-hmm. But
speaking of Drew Lock, he's got Jerry Jeudy to throw to. I think is going to translate.
He's got
really well.
Well, listen. What was crazy?
And they got someone else.
AFC West got speed.
Yep. Yeah, they all got to try and keep up with the foot race that is Kansas City.
So I think we'll see a lot of copycat football going on in the AFC West this year.
And they got a bruiser, Taylor from Wisconsin, also.
Yeah.
Who is that?
The running back from
he went to the Colts. He went to the Colts.
Oh shit, he's with fucking Phillip.
Yeah, he went to the Colts.
Yeah. He's with Phillip.
The Chiefs got Clyde Allaire, whatever his name is. He's a
Number
he's a little jukebox for all my Madden players out there. He's a jukebox.
He's going to get an Andy Reid offense.
If you want to have fun on Madden or have a challenge, play with the Redskins against the Cowboys and have Morgan Moses try to pass block Demarcus Lawrence.
I've been there.
He averages about 5 sacks a game against me. 5 to 6.
Listen, I'm gonna be real with you. I made a lot of serious cuts on my franchise when I had the Redskins. Made a lot of serious cuts. One of them was Kerrigan. So,
damn!
Look, Superman's my guy.
Yeah, as I say, your boy too.
That's my boy, but I love him to death. But it's time, bro.
Need a win.
Well, if he had another move, shit, I would be fine. But
it's like the Iraq War.
Yeah, you can't just run people over and think they're gonna get out of your way all the time. Shit is not. I could see him as an inside rusher though, in a sub package though.
And if he goes against third stringers, he's going to get like 3 to 4 sacks a game.
Who is that?
Kerrigan.
Oh, shit.
He always has like one game a year where he dominates. And it's always against like.
Gets those stats up. I mean, I love Kerrigan.
And then he do a Shawn Michaels flex.
Yeah.
I'm like, Kerrigan, you know we watch wrestling, bro. Like, we used to watch wrestling. He's like, it's my move now.
Apparently, the story is that was Will Compton's move. Compton told him to do it, and then
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Will Compton.
Hey, he's got buses. What was it?
Yeah, because he's got busters now.
Yeah. So another thing, the last thing I noticed from this draft, obviously the Redskins are in a really good position financially, so they're going to attack the secondary free agent market. I assume their starting left tackle is still doesn't have a job at this point, whether that's Jason Peters or Donald Penn. You know, if you want to bring in Jason Peters for a season, I'm totally fine with that, especially if we really need to evaluate Dwayne Haskins as best as we can. We need someone that's going to be able to block for him. And there's not a left tackle on this current roster to do that.
I would definitely give Jason Peters a call. I would still probably give Donald Penn a call. I do think Penn is a wrap for him. But if you can make him a right tackle, maybe, maybe that's, I'm done with Morgan Moses.
Yes, please.
Me and you both.
Him and Tyler Columbus are the same people, in my opinion. So one of them just got
Columbus
paid.
have been called for holding every game.
I used to call him Tyler Turnstile. Because all you did was slap those hands down and keep moving.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, but
don't miss those days.
But you're right. You definitely, in order to properly evaluate Haskins, you definitely have to bring in one of those guys, a veteran, solidify that position. And I think Jason Peters would do that. His injury history is really what I would be most concerned about.
Yeah. And, normally I would say, look, I know the Redskins aren't in contention this year. Let's just develop our young guys.
What are you talking about, Tom? We're going to the Super Bowl.
There he
is. Everybody knows that. Come on.
Order.
You need a lot of taquitos.
Hey, I want whatever you're drinking, bro. I want some of that.
He picks them every year. Don't worry.
Positive optimism. Gotta believe. He can happen.
He picked them to win the Super Bowl, but then he did not pick them to get into the playoffs.
Correct. I picked DC United.
No, I think in a couple of years we'll be having a different conversation, and not joking as much about it.
Honestly,
especially with the expansion of 2 extra playoff teams. So I think
and expansion of the rosters. There's going to be a larger practice squad, larger available players on game day, which I think is that's win-win for everybody. So
what really pissed me off was the extra game. And I know you got to give something to get what you want, but taking away a preseason game is really making it even more difficult to make an NFL roster. When you think about it, those are the games that I was in a lot of times that I flashed in, had to make plays in. I don't make the roster without those type of games. So I really feel for the younger guys who got to try to make it happen in 3. I know Vince ain't gonna play as much still, but there's no fourth string, fourth string in the NFL. You're either first or second.
Yeah.
That I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I feel like every team, especially ones that are, with a new coach trying to establish a new culture, a new program, they have a built-in excuse like, hey, we can't run our program the way we want because of what's happening in the world right now. We're all shut down. So, yeah. I mean, this is going to be a challenge for, the Redskins in particular, trying to reestablish, legitimacy. And how are they going to do this via Zoom? I don't know. I don't know how you're going to be able to study a playbook without being on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely got to go out and do it. People learn in different ways. So you definitely, I was more of a kinesthetic learner. Like I had to go out and do it. You could teach me shit all day, but if I didn't go out and put it in motion, then it didn't really resonate. So,
yeah. Kind of along those lines, Robert, we actually have a fan question on our live Facebook feed right now.
Okay.
From Hope, he and the girlfriend, a former college player, a former college athlete. She played soccer at the University of Maryland.
Captain of Maryland.
But so kind of tying into how it's going to be difficult to prepare for the season virtually when you can't be together. But she asked, what's the biggest transition from college football preparation to the NFL preparation, while also keeping in mind that these guys aren't going to be able to be on the field at the same time for the first couple of months. Time.
I think a lot of fans think we wake up, we have meetings, we practice, and all in the span of maybe 4 hours, and then we go home. That shit is literally a job. It's 8-10 hours days. Like you're burning oil. And even when you go home, you're still technically on the clock, because if you don't learn how to call a coverage or call a front correctly, your ass is going home. It's even more of a more fast-paced environment than people think it is. And shit changes on the fly all the time. I can remember putting in coverages when Hazlitt first got there, and they motion from a 2x1 set to a trip set. Then you gotta make a blue call instead of go from blue to red. So I remember like being in the shit like that and thinking like, are we in blue, red, green? What the fuck are we in? Like, people motioning, they moving everywhere, and you just like on the fly, you gotta make these quick decisions. And then we just scrapped all that shit, and then all of a sudden it was something else. So you spend so much time learning things, and then, they could be gone. Or you could do like Hazlitt do and install a play, don't call it for the first 6 weeks, and then bring it up. Like nobody
sounds about right.
Like we don't remember that shit. Like what are you doing? So the time commitment is really more than what people think it is.
Like let's say it's mid-season. What's your 9 to 5 like? I'm sorry. What's your day-to-day like?
Just like during the season?
Yeah.
You can choose what time you want to lift weights, but most of the time you do it by position groups. So for the linebackers, we went there at 7:30 in the morning. Then you got your special teams meetings. Then you got your team meeting. Then you got your defense or offensive meeting. Then you got your positional meetings. Then you come back together on the field for a walkthrough. Then you practice. Then you go back in, take a shower, eat, go back up and watch the shit that you just did as a defense. Then you watch it as a position group. So it's really a lot more shit that go into it. And those meetings are an hour, some of them are 30 minutes. It just depends on, the coach and how comfortable he is with what he's installed or how the guys reacted to it. But, some
there's
guys
not enough caffeine in the world.
That's awesome. I know, right? Some guys lift it after practice. I mean, and then you bring in training camp aspect of it. Training camp is even more fast paced. And then you bring in the fans aspect of training camp, which, you got to give back and you got to, show appreciation for those guys that show up. And so it's just so the time part of it is really a big part. So for all the fans who got mad that so-and-so didn't sign their shit and he just ran straight in, is because he's got a lot of shit to do. Like he's literally on the clock. Like,
and you got to
right now.
You got to keep your weight up, so you have to eat. I feel like constantly too.
You got to eat. Some guys got to go to the training room and get treatment before they go to that meeting, so there's no time. So it's a lot of shit that goes into it, man. It's really fast paced. But I think the biggest learning curve for a rookie is the speed of the game. That shit blew my mind, literally. At TCU, I could walk up in the fucking A gap, take my time, look around, drop out, or act like I'm blitzing and then drop out. And no. In the league, I remember literally my first practice, I dropped back 2 fucking steps and the ball was gone. Tanner was going up the sideline. I was like, what the fuck?
Tanner.
And my coach looking at me like, get to your fucking spot. Get to your spot. I'm like, what? What the fuck is happening, bro? Like, literally just don't know what the fuck is happening. But you adjust to it, and you get used to it. Trying to catch a guy like Tanner on the screen. I prided myself in being full speed at practice. So that entailed, as long as the runner is running, I'm running with him. You know, that type of shit. And I quickly cut that out of my life because
he's still at speed back then too.
Yeah, man, he was fucking moving. I remember first time I covered Fred Davis on a fucking corner route. That he could move. I think people really underestimate how fast he was, man.
Mm-hmm.
He could move. I remember one time I hit Clinton Portis in the goal line situation. We were in shells, and all I did was form him up. I hit him pretty good though. And he looked at me. He was like, "Don't you ever fucking hit me like that again." Like, I was like, "What?" He's like, "Don't hit me that hard again. What the fuck are you doing?" But you know, you got defensive coaches in your ears telling you, "Play fast, go.
Yeah,
don't think." You know, so it's all those kind of small dynamics and shit, and figuring out what your niche is and what you aren't good at. You know, shit, there's a lot of shit that go into it. I think the casual fan doesn't take into account.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Robert, thank you, man.
Yeah. Great.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you guys having me for real.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I'm not breaking any more news. Fuck it. I'm done.
You want to
do it here.
Yeah, if you
it would have
want
been so good if you got it though.
My boy CK was like, I was like, I'm not, don't tell me shit else. I don't want to know. He's like, why not? No, man, I'm done, bro. I'm done.
Well, if you have
how much did your phone blow up after that Odell?
Oh, you know what's crazy? It was more Cleveland fans than Redskins fans.
Huh.
Really?
A lot of Cleveland fans are like, fuck you. You don't know. I literally argued with this one guy. Well, I didn't argue with him, but he was like, how could you retire if you never had the job? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like he was like, yeah, but he's retired. Like he left the game, but he doesn't get benefits. I was like, bro, like I literally get all this shit. Like, what are you talking about? I'm a retired player. Like, bro, it was so much, but it was more Browns fans than anything, man. They were pissed.
Interesting.
Redskins fans.
It does kind of make sense though.
Yep.
Yeah, you get a few Redskins fans who are just like, fuck you, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. But I can usually ignore those.
Yeah, good.
When I was writing, I had one guy find my personal email address to send me an email to tell me that I am a lacrosse boy from the Beltway and shouldn't talk about football. Never played lacrosse.
It was definitely slick.
Yeah, right. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're right about the Beltway. I'll give you that.
Listen, I tell people all the time. I'll tell you off. This shit ain't gonna make ESPN. Not this time. Like, I'm done.
Not again.
Listen, bro, like, I will definitely clap back at you. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Robert, thank you, man.
It was awesome.
Really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah, no doubt. I need to get on. I'm going to get something to drink like my boy over there. So
good, man.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
All right.
Thanks, Robert.
Nice to meet you, Robert. Have a great night. Thanks for coming on.
You too, bro.
All right, that was Robert Henson, everyone, at Mr._Henson51 on Twitter. Give him a follow for him breaking news. That was a lot of fun.
That was fucking awesome.
That was great to meet him.
Yeah. Porter finally got to meet him. We got to meet him face to face because last time we talked to him was just on a phone call.
We should have told him that alcohol is certainly allowed.
Well, it's hard. I was realizing through all this, it's so hard on these Zoom podcasts of my typical thing is to just sit there and send Ian or Tom fucking crazy ass gifts from like Japan or some shit to like make them laugh and giggle. You're talking most of the time, man. You're dialed in. I can't phase you.
All the time too.
I've tried so many times to phase you, Bobby, and it doesn't work. I usually go with either one of them. It's easy. I know I can get a reaction out of Ian, and Tom will stop in his tracks the moment I send him something.
Well, yeah. If you do it to Tom, he just goes off the rails. You're
exactly. Well, that's what I felt like. I'm like sitting here, like you're literally looking at me. Like, I don't want to be disrespectful and like you're like.
No, I hear you.
I want to listen, and he had a lot of great things to say. He was great. I was just for most of it, just because I never watched the draft, was just like, yeah, I know that guy. That sounds like that's a big dude.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, we kind of know that he's been trying to. He kind of touched on this last time he was on the show, but had been trying to break into kind of a media type role.
I think it'd be great
in Santana.
Well, I didn't realize how much. To the nth degree.
I didn't realize how much.
Robert Henson be great at that.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much tape he watches of these guys. Like,
yeah,
he knew. I watched tape on this guy and this guy. He knew like that Wisconsin center. He was like, I watched a lot of tape on him, and I really liked him. I was hoping the Redskins grabbed him. So, I mean, very impressive. Obviously he knows his shit. He's a former professional football player, but how much effort he puts into watching these guys, and even the professional guys now, the guys that the Redskins are signing as free agents or trading for, he knows a shit ton about. So it's always interesting to have him on.
He sold the shit out of the Khalid Hudson pick.
That seemed like that was like his favorite pick. But I mean, linebacker to linebacker.
Yeah.
Does make sense.
But I mean, it does the way he puts it, like, if he can play that weak side and cover well.
And if he calls him a poor man's Zach Brown at this point, I mean,
gladly,
I'll take it. Please and thank you.
5th round pick. As we are nearing the end of this said podcast, Porter, it is your time to shine. What you got for us, friend?
Well, I was just going to say something funny real quick. It was when we started, we were talking about basketball. I know Abby had reached out to all of us, and she just texted me privately. It was just like, you look so fucking bored. It's like, we're talking about Michael Jordan and his like lifetime accomplishments, and everyone's just like so into it. It's like, I don't know what the fuck anyone's talking about this.
That's funny because she texted me that I have a booger in my left nostril. And then when I went to itch it, she goes, made you itch.
Is she really? Good job,
nice.
Guys. Pretty funny.
Nice.
She didn't pick me.
Well, I'll say in quarantine, I've been watching, I think just about everybody else, a good amount of Netflix. Probably the honorable mention would be, if you guys like, as I do, stand-up comedy, Chris D'Elia. He's an acquired taste. The first 20 minutes are probably going to be a little slow for most people if they're not used to him, but he does pick up and he gets pretty good. So that's definitely worth an hour-long watch if you're into it. But what I really liked, and I prefaced to Elaine, was just like, we're going to sit down and we're going to watch this action movie just for the fact that it's an action movie, one of those like Netflix only. It's with Chris Helmsworth, Extraction.
Oh yeah.
So Netflix has been, just because they're a fixed subscription service, has been trying to break into the Asian market for some time, and they started doing that in June. And their mobile app in India is only $3 American. Like, that's how much, just because of the disparity of pay gap of the people that live there. Like, they're just trying to gain more subscription, more followers, and they got a shit ton of people to be able to do that with. And this movie was definitely geared to try and do that. I don't think they probably successfully did that, but as far as an action movie goes, where you just kind of like just turn it off, know that this is what you're going to watch. It reminded me a lot of the gunfighting, reminded me a lot of John Wick. The high speed, they had a 12-minute one-shot high-speed chase action sequence, which was awesome. It was really, really cool. And they had some after, scenes or whatever that you can look at of the director himself is chained into an H harness on a cable outside of the vehicle, following them down these streets, like with the camera literally in front of his face, just like doing this. It was insane. And it was actually really well done. Storyline, plot, script, garbage. But the action sequences themselves were really fucking entertaining. I was like, oh shit. Like the gun manipulation, the, like firefights, the hand-to-hand, like all that shit was just like, it was intense, and it was always intense. It was just like from start to finish, just like there were a couple of lulls, but every time you're like, something bad about to happen, and then immediately something bad happened.
Nice.
So as far as like any kind of that of just like, you want to just see like a good action movie and just let that be it, and just see an action movie, I highly recommend Extraction with Chris Hemsworth. Taquitos, I'd give it a solid. I can't give it 4, just because the script is really bad. Like it's just bad. And
well,
Chris
it's an action
Hemsworth,
movie.
They overplay a lot of, and I've said this a lot of different action movies of the times now, because of, you know, the war on terror. You have post-traumatic stress, and you know, the guy himself, or the main character, is a, you know, former special ops who becomes a mercenary type person, and he deals with alcoholism and drug abuse and his own demons and shit like that. And they don't really talk about, you know, the stuff that he did in war. It's more like family stuff. And there's a scene where Chris Hemsworth is crying.
What's a Helmsworth? Is that like the Battle of Helm's Deep?
Am I saying his name wrong? Chris Hemsworth? Hemsworth?
Yeah, no.
Like you're adding an L to it.
Whatever. Chris Hemsworth. Excuse me.
Schwarzenegger?
Halfway.
Porter, is it Michael Bay?
No. And that's the only reason I like it.
I'll watch it then.
It's not Michael Bay. It's not Michael Bay at all.
Did you ever finish that other Michael Bay movie?
I did.
I could.
Just because I had to just be like, it was so bad.
Porter, you love some bad movies.
I do. I can appreciate it for what it is, because it will normally have something redeeming of it. And for me, it's more just like, all right, I'm gonna experience this. If it's a terrible fucking movie, it's a terrible movie. But at least I get to say, dude, how terrible was this fucking movie?
Yeah.
But I mean,
like you said, you like to turn your brain off for a couple hours. Yep.
Yeah, you just it's a good. It's more on the action sequences, like I said, is more on the John Wick side of the spectrum than anything else, which I really, really loved. They were really well choreographed, and he murders everybody. Like,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of close range pistol shots to the face. Like, he goes for his secondary all the time. Like, his main weapon jams constantly. He's always fucking pulling out his pistol in the guy's face. It's ridiculous.
Nice. I finished The Watchmen this past weekend.
Nice.
It's amazing. I think it's the best show I've seen this year.
How'd you like that cock tease?
Yeah. Guess what? Right? That's all of it.
Yeah.
You just got defended.
For anybody, turn off spoiler alerts. But
oh my Tom, you didn't know?
Yeah, he did. We told him.
I don't think he did.
Tom, we definitely told you.
We said Firefly. He doesn't know what Firefly means.
Okay, that's on us. Yeah, Tom, there's no second season. They canceled that shit.
What? Oh, sorry, Bear.
Wait, really?
Scared the crap out of Bear.
Yeah, Watchmen ain't coming back. I mean, unless a fucking miracle happens, but they said
there's a possibility it might come back, but
it was the content, or it was the creator, right?
I have no idea.
Dude, that was so
I thought it was
good.
a difference in artistic discretion or something like that. It was just like, no, HBO didn't want to deal with it. They were just like, we're not going to do another JJ, you know, it's just.
It was amazing. Right there. See you, bud. It touched so many different topics, whether it was religion, whether it was race relations, politics. It intertwined all of these undertones that made it just so good. And obviously the acting was fantastic. God damn it. I didn't know that.
Great fucking show.
It was amazing.
Goddamn show.
Firefly up there in that big HBO thing.
The Fireflies.
Now I get it.
I always thought they were big burning balls of gas.
So, Ian, you are
everything
watching The Wire for the first time, you and Hope.
Yes.
Well, now
so I got
you've surpassed where you've.
Yeah, I got up to season 3, and then our good friend Nicholas Umo fucked a very big part for me, so I stopped watching.
Okay.
But now we are season 4, episode 7, 8.
Okay, you're towards the end. It's good. Season 4 is awesome.
4 seasons very good. Yeah, McNulty is all fucking. He's all portered now. He's Gregory portered.
Do you have a favorite season so far, Ian?
I mean 3, but
3.
I think 2 gets shat on way too much.
Right?
I like 2.
I like 2. Awesome.
I think 2 is very good.
Great.
That's Megan's one of her favorite seasons.
Yeah, it's
I really like it
too. Like I love it.
Yeah,
I like this.
I still feel like season 2 is why Umo hates unions.
And it's Locust Point too, so it's like
true.
I think he saw that and was like, nope, hate him.
And they're making fun of Greeks too. It's like the Greek wasn't even Greek. It's like,
yeah. Porter, have you watched Dave?
So good. We finished it a few nights ago.
Really?
I gotta watch that.
Night.
It is very much a Porter show.
Dave, Little Dicky show.
The Little Dicky.
No, I haven't.
So good.
Dude, it's so funny. We watched 4 episodes last night. I think actually the season premiere or finals tonight or tomorrow night.
We finished it pretty fast.
Oh, I can't wait. But we watched the first 4 episodes last night. Couldn't stop. It was so funny.
It's fantastic.
His cadence just cracks me up.
What about who else has watched the Middleton and Schwartz?
The first 2.
I watched the first 2, and the first 2 were
very good.
I'll give you guys the benefit of the doubt. Anytime I see something improv, I'm just like, I saw the trailers for it.
I can see Porter not.
When they came out and they were just like,
Porter would love it.
I was like, I mean, I love the 2 of them as comedians. I love the 2 of them. I think they're fantastic. I'll give it a shot.
I think it's a lot funnier than I expected it to be.
Me too.
And each person is funnier than like the guy from fucking Social Network. I mean, a Social Network. Jesus Christ.
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley.
He's so good.
I'm not even drinking tonight. But yeah, the guy from Silicon Valley. He's surprised me. He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a lot of YouTube shorts for Funny or Die. And he also did a lot of stuff for what's his face? He had a talk show on TBS for like a couple of years.
Conan?
No, he was a writer for Conan. What is his name? He's a big, tall,
Nigel,
goofy guy. Whatever.
Nigel.
No, you remember those like Netflix or not Netflix? X-Men getting fired YouTube things I sent you guys, where like Jean Grey and Wolverine getting fired by Professor X. Nope. Remember those?
Yeah.
He was Gambit. And it was hysterical. I'll send you guys a link. But it's Professor X firing Gambit from the X-Men, and it's the greatest thing ever. And the guy from Silicon Valley is Gambit, and it's awesome.
Oh, I gotta watch that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question for you guys. Our neighbor has a little sign in the front yard with a question. Then she draws 2 circles, and she has like 30 rocks.
The drums. Sorry. I'm kidding. I wish I could hear you play the drums at this point, Tom.
Thanks, Betty. So my neighbor has a sign. She asks a question. Then she has 2 circles on the ground with 30 rocks, and then you just place the rock on the answer on its respective circle.
Did she clean that fucking rock? Huh?
Yeah, is she wiping down these rocks?
Yeah. Is that the question?
The fact that they went through that much effort, we feel a need to answer.
You participate?
Anyways, so the question today, and we talked about this before, but I want to ask it again because it's been years. Question was simple. What's better, TV or movies?
Oh.
TV.
I said TV.
It's got to be TV.
Today is
way more content.
Movies.
Way more content.
Yeah,
way better. Quality, and it's not a reboot, and it's not a fucking revamp or a fucking. Yeah.
It's got to be TV.
Especially TV episodes can be as long as movies now. Like, look at Sherlock.
Yeah,
and also that Oscar-related, top tier level, like actors are in television shows now. So,
that's where the money is.
We immediately, Danielle and I both put TV.
Movie was split.
It was actually split. seemed like an even count between those who preferred movies over TV.
Huh. I mean, it makes sense, but I
Sure.
just think TV is way better now.
If you were to ask me this like 5 years ago, I probably would have said movies.
Yeah,
Not anymore.
except for
Now
Game of
that I have-
Thrones.
That's tough.
God, I hated season 8. God damn it.
It was the best season. What are you talking about?
Bobby, I swear to God.
You're right. All right. Bob,
And fucking
Bob, you wanna-
Will Smith was a fantastic genie. I'm sure.
Out of here.
That still pisses me off.
I didn't say fantastic.
Okay,
I said
for those
he was a fantastic genie
obviously-
other than Robin Williams. I said he was serviceable, if not.
No, you said
Good.
you liked him.
No,
I liked him. Doesn't mean he's
not
better than Robin. Doesn't
serviceable.
mean
We never said you thought
serviceable.
No. There's Robin Williams, and then there's whoever
yeah,
plays him.
and of course, but that's what
But it was so
You're blinded
bad.
by
But
Disney,
he-
Bobby.
it's so bad.
I'll tell
You
He
got
has
Disney
beer
goggles,
goggles.
Bobby.
He has
He's the best part of the movie.
goggles.
He's the best. It's a bad movie, but he's the best part. He's making. To me,
No,
So-
Jasmine's the best part of the movie,
You don't say that because she's hot.
and it's Jasmine.
Bobby, just
Aladdin
stop
sucked.
Stop it.
I can't stand Aladdin.
Genie, I won't. No, I hate it. Jafar
Aladdin's
was
so
fucking
whiny.
awful.
Yeah, Jafar was also like 23, so
I was like, what the
I
hell
didn't,
is this?
I didn't make it like past
He's, like,
20.
younger than
24
Aladdin.
Fucking shit.
I wanted to get
can't
to
handle
a whole
this.
new world, and
This is
then
stupid.
I was pot committed at that point. And it was, oh my God. A whole new world
Like,
was good
The
though.
moment they said he was on the ship and he sat his kids down and started some terrible fucking Arabic accent, I was like, this is gonna be awful. This is gonna be horrible.
And it was.
I can't stand this right now. Like,
Megan said
we
today.
like Will
she's like,
Smith. We like Will
I
Smith.
do.
I love Will Smith.
but
But
that was a
just no.
terrible fucking movie. It
I'm
was a-
not saying it's a good movie. I'm just saying he's.
I am not going to watch Aladdin.
I
Tom,
wouldn't
you should
recommend
watch it just to confirm the fact that you're a sane person, because Bobby's fucking lost
Yes.
his goddamn mind.
That fair. Do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can only watch
Bobby's
30
got
minutes
Disney
and you'll know.
goggles.
Megan did go today. It's like I haven't seen the cartoon Aladdin in so long, and I was like,
We watched it here, didn't we?
I know she fell asleep. She fell asleep with like the first
Oh,
time.
that's true. That's
She
true.
doesn't remember that part. I didn't even bring that up. I was like, whatever. We can watch it. We watched Mulan and then we watched Aladdin.
yeah, because I don't think you and I know I didn't make it all the way through. I went downstairs.
I did.
Yeah.
I was on one night that night. Anyway,
They're running through the market. God, that was terrible.
So bad.
It was like I said,
Wrap it
it was
up.
like,
yeah, I can wrap it up as soon as they're done being wrong.
shut up.
I swear to God.
All right, this has been the Put Me in Coach podcast. Thanks again to Robert Henson for joining the show. Good insight
So
on the
much
Redskins
fun.
draft and the NFL draft. Shout out to Tom for setting that up. Again, you're basically what? Do you text him? Text buddies with Robert Henson?
Yeah.
DM.
Yes. Text buddies with
Bit of
Robert
both.
Henson.
A
Again,
little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
That's cool.
You can give him a follow again for, I guess, sometimes breaking Redskins news or just any other
Yeah.
talking football.
Maybe not
at-
anymore, apparently.
Maybe not, but at Mr._Henson51 on Twitter, at Tom_Natalie for Thomas, at Gregory on Zoom for Greg, at Ian_Foster21 for Ian. Myself, I'm at Bobby_Blanco and PMIC podcasts across the board on social media. Also, don't forget we're on YouTube now. You can watch all these video podcasts as well. Thanks to everyone who commented along and watched throughout the episode on Facebook Live, on our Facebook page. We really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. A lot of fun for us. We hope to be continuing to do this every week or so, if not twice a week, since we don't have too much going on at nights. And maybe there'll be some more stuff to talk about. And of course, you can always check out the normal podcast as you would on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and SoundCloud. Again, thanks to Robert for hopping on the phone or actually on the Zoom with us. For Ian, Greg, and Tom, I am Bobby. We will see you later this week or maybe next week. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you later.
Nah,
See you guys.
Bye.
we're not hanging up, right?
No, that's a Tom thing.
Yeah, no, I corrected that.
You did. That's 2 weeks in a row.
That was so fucking funny. No, stop that.